One of them is doing a Michael Jackson dance, just like Thriller. It's the 80s, it's zombies. Of course there's gonna be a reference. Hello there, my name is Lee, and I'm Ned, and today we watched a scary movie. We watched Return of the Living Dead Part 2. Let's go! Return of the Living Dead Part 2, 1989. It lasts 1 hour 25 minutes, and it's a sequel to Return of the Living Dead. Part 1? Yeah, but it's not called that. Which is a follow-up to the Night of the Living Dead movies. Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Day of the Dead. Although George Romero, who created and directed those movies, had nothing to do with these movies. So we open up the movie with a narration telling us all about a strange chemical weapon the military had developed. It was an experimental chemical weapon and it was subsequently destroyed. Or so we think. Da-da-da. We see an army truck barreling through the night, and on the back of it are barrels. Barrels? Yeah, I didn't mean that. But it's speeding through the night. All these barrels are in the back of this open-topped truck, and one of them falls out. Yeah, it falls out into like a storm drain. Is that what it's called in America? I think it is, yeah. We cut to the next day. Oh, and there's these two guys, two skilled dillies, and they're about 13 or 14, and they're on their way to see this young guy who's about 9. They actually get a conic dick thrown in, and they say, okay, you're almost in the gang, and if you want to join Trotterly, then you have to have an initiation. Turns out the initiation for this young boy is to go into the cemetery and go inside this creepy looking tomb. Yeah, classic dillies. Before they can lock him in though, he manages to escape and they give chase, and that's when they find the Daryl, and they press a couple of dials on the outside, yep, and nothing seems to happen. That gas escapes, and gas is released inside as well, and they run off. They do. They run off because the little boy runs away again. But they manage to catch him, the bullies. Yeah, and they take him in the tin and lock him in and run off laughing. Yeah, I don't think he's laughing. No, I was. Then we cut to two guys, one old guy, one younger guy. Yeah, Ed and Joey. And they're at the graveyard as well. And they're planning to steal things from graves. They're grave robbers. They're tune snatchers. Yeah, I guess they're up to no good. Now Joey's girlfriend is also with them. They all arrived in a van. Brenda, the girlfriend, she decides to stay in the van and wait for Ed and Joey to finish grave robbing. In broad daylight. What are they thinking? Call the cops. They're robbing graves. Ed and Joey head up to the fanciest, most expensive, nicest looking tomb. Yeah, it's the same one the little boy is in. The little boy's name, by the way, is Jesse. And Jesse's in there. The grave robbers open the tin. Jesse runs off and they say, oh, you get out of here, little scant. And they're fine though, they're happy. Yeah, they're happy because they can get on with what they're here to do. So they start opening up tins and taking rings and jewellery and things like that from dead bodies. Now Jesse runs home and his parents are out, but his sister is babysitting. Yeah, that she's not interested in doing aerobics like Jane Fonda. Is it Billy Blank's Tybo? I don't think it's Billy Blank's Tybo, no. It might be, and I don't think so. But Jesse's sister Lucy is looking after him. And then we cut back to the bullies. Yeah, one of them's called Billy. He's like the leader one, he's the nano one. And they go back to investigate this strange Daryl they found. And when they do, they accidentally release even more gas. Yeah, green smoke comes out and they cough, they inhale it and they start to cough and choke, and then the green gas rolls over the ground of the graveyard and seeps into the ground. Yeah, I wonder what will happen now. Well, I know, well, yeah, you've seen it. Back at Jesse's house, the doorbell rings and the cable guy has arrived to fix the cable. Now, the cable guy, what's his name? I don't remember, but he is, let's just call him Cable Guy. Yeah, and he's the same age as Lucy, and he says, "Oh, I think you're at school with me, even though I'm a cable guy, I've got a full-time job." Well, he comes in and he starts sort of nervously flirting with Lucy, doesn't he? "Yeah, you're there to do a job, Nate. Get on with it." Right. While this is going on, Jesse heads out of the house. He goes to see Billy. Yeah, the dilly. Yeah. And Billy is in bed, sick, isn't he? Yeah, he's having trouble breathing, he's got a fever, he's quite pale. And Billy says, "I think it's something to do with that barrel." So Jesse thinks, "I'll go and look at this barrel." He puts on a little mask, doesn't he? Yeah, a little breathing mask. He's got the proper PPE, I guess. Now he looks in this barrel and it's empty. Yeah, because the contents are behind him and the contents were a zombie. This big giant monster is called Tarnan, I think. He was in the first one anyway, wasn't he? Yeah, that's right. He's behind Jesse and he's going, "Brains, brains." Yeah, that's what the zombies say in this film, because in these films they apparently want to eat your brains. Don't know why. I don't know why either. But that's zombies. Jesse manages to dodge the zombie and he gets behind it and shoves it and it falls into the river. Yeah, we didn't see it again. Maybe that's the way to defeat zombies. I guess so. Okay, that's new. But Jesse, terrified obviously, runs off and he takes a shortcut through the graveyard and he stops, exhausted, catches his breath, sits beside a tombstone. Yeah, a headstone, and he's lying against it and the ground starts to shake and he thinks, "Uh-oh, I'm getting out of here." So he does, he runs off. Yeah, he runs back home. As he runs off, we see why the ground was shaken. All of the dead bodies from the cemetery, where the green grass rolled over, are coming back to life. And they're all coming out of the ground. Yeah, they're crawling out of the ground, as a zombie does. And some of them are putting on glasses, and some of them are like checking their outfits. And there's one, keeps putting his hand out to try and pull himself out of his grave, and other zombies keep stepping on his hand. Yeah, some of this film, I mean, it is a horror comedy. Ah, did you not know? No, I thought it was just horror. Well, it's horror comedy. Brenda, who has been waiting in the van for her grave robbing boyfriend and his colleague, decides it's been long enough. She goes to start looking for them. It's night time by now, isn't it? Yeah, it's getting dark. So she goes off to try and find Joey, her boyfriend, and Ed, his colleague or boss or whatever he is. And on the way, she meets a zombie. Yep. And she's scared. So she punches it in the face, and her hand goes right through his head. Maybe that's another way to defeat zombies. Yeah, it's never looked at. Now inside the tomb, Ed and Joey have cut the head off of a dead body. Yeah, and for some reason Ed thinks, "I'll just put it in a bag, I'll keep this." Don't know what he's going to do with a lady's head. Well, the green gas has also seeped into the tomb, so Ed and Joey begin coughing. Yeah, and while they're coughing, one of the zombies in a coffin starts to come back to life. Yeah, it does, and it rises up and tries to attack them, but they manage to escape and they run off into the graveyard and they're fighting zombies on the way. Yeah, they can't believe what's going on. No, neither can I. And they meet Brenda. She can't believe what's going on. No, she can't. But she's got a handful of slime from punching a zombie through the head, hasn't she? Yeah, disgusting. It's like snot. They get into their van, and I think Ed's driving, but because Ed and Joey are coughing so much and feeling so ill, they only make it part of the way into town, and they crash their car into the cable guy's van. Yeah, outside Lucy and Jesse's house. Now Jesse returns home. Lucy didn't realise he was out, but he returns home all panicked, trying to tell her what's going on out there. She doesn't believe him. Why would she? Yeah, exactly. He's a young boy with an active imagination, I guess. Yeah, so, guess what? She locks him in the room and he takes the obvious step of telephoning the army. Yeah, he does. He phones the army. But he gets put straight through to one of the people in charge. Yeah, and he says, I found your arrow. It's here in this town. So the army come rolling into town eventually. Yeah, not straight away, no. Ed, Joey and Brenda rush into Lucy's house. Yeah, and Lucy and the cable guy are in there speaking. These three strangers come in and say, help us please, it's craziness out there. There are all these dead bodies coming back to life. Yeah, and Ed is still clutching the dag, and inside that dag is that lady's head. It comes to life, and it tries to bite them all. It does, and it's sarcastic, it's making jokes, and it's funny, yeah, I guess. But it is trying to bite them all. The cable guy grabs a screwdriver and stabs the head. In the head? Yeah, and it's still talking, saying, oh, that was sore. Now, the original Night of the Living Dead takes place mostly in one small house. Yeah, and all the zombies are trying to get into this house to get to the humans there, and that's just what's happening here. They're all trying to get into Lucy and Jesse's house, and they're just breaking in, and there's loads of them, and it looks like it's bad news for Lucy and the cradle guy and Brenda and Ed and Joey and Jesse. But then they get distracted by the TV. Lucy's workout channel is still on, isn't it? Her workout video, and the zombies all stop to watch and start to copy what they see on the screen. Yeah. So the humans manage to escape. But they rush off and manage to run into this big empty house. Yeah, like a show-horn on the street. It seems none of their neighbours are in, or maybe they're all being eaten by zombies. That they find the big empty house. Yeah, they go and hide in there. Meanwhile, we see Billy. Yeah, he's out of dead. And guess what? He's a zombie. He is. Even though he was never actually dead, this gas has made him a zombie. Yeah, and he goes and he sees his nun, and he hugs his nun, and then he bites her brains out. He bites her in the skull, doesn't he? Yeah. Do you know, in this movie, the zombies' teeth must be really strong, or Teetle's skulls are really soft. It looks like just biting like an eggshell. Well, I don't know if it's that soft. It is? Oh, okay. So the gang find out this house isn't actually empty. There's an old guy who lives here, the town doctor. Everyone calls him Doc. Makes sense, yeah. And they get him to join them, and they take his car to try and escape town. Yeah, and while they're driving, Joey opens the window to be sick. He opens the window and leans out, but there's a zombie on the roof of the car. And he reaches down and tries to attack them all. Get into a big fight, the zombie's on the roof, his Arnon's inside the car, they close the car window, and then the zombie's Arn is inside and is still trying to fight everyone. So they manage to get it, grab it, and chuck it out, and they look back, and it's lying in the middle of the road, and it gives then the middle finger. So the gang head to the hospital to see if Ed and Joey can get help, because they're still feeling, because they're feeling worse every second. Yeah, there's no one there. No. So the doc decides, well, I'll have a look at them, lie them on the bed, and then he discovers there's no heart rate, there's no pulse, they've got rigor mortis, they're dead. Even though they're up and walking about and talking and everything, they appear not to be alive anymore. Yeah. Uh-oh. Now Jesse, Lucy and the cable guy decide to head into town. They leave the others at the hospital, take Doctor's car, and they head into town. They see a big group of people, clearly zombies. I mean, you can see from miles away they're zombies. That Lucy goes, hey, help us. Hey, there's zombies. Can you join us, help us? And then she realises there's zombies when they get like 1 foot closer. Yeah, I don't know how she didn't know, but she's basically alerted them, so they all start chasing her. They manage to escape into another big empty house. Yeah, all these empty houses. Yeah, maybe everyone's been taken over by zombies. Maybe. In the living room of this house, there's a big cabinet filled with weapons. Yeah, rifles and pistols and things like that. Yeah, America. Yeah. So they just help themselves. and they take all these weapons and head back to the hospital. At the hospital, things aren't looking any better for Ed or Joey. For some reason, Jesse decides to wander off on his own. Yeah, silly kid. And he meets a zombie, and he ends up fighting it, and he ends up blasting it with gas, throwing a gas tight, and it ends up getting shot in half by a shotgun, courtesy of Lucy. Yeah, she's quite handy with a weapon. Now, Joey convinces Brenda that it would be better if they left the hospital and they all went their own ways. So Ed and Brenda agree with Joey, and all three of them make their way out and they run off and they steal Doc's car, don't they? Yeah, and they get so far along, and then the Arnie is there. The Arnie stops on and says, "Here you go, Fox, you okay?" And Ed falls out of the car and he says, "Oh, I don't feel good." And the Army man goes over to help him and he dikes his brain. Yeah, so the army are preoccupied with Ed. Joey and Brenda rush off again. Yeah, and there's, I guess, this movie's idea of a romantic scene. Because Joey and Brenda have found a nice quiet spot. And Joey says, "I love you, Brenda. I love your brains. Let me eat them." Yeah, and it doesn't take much for Brenda to say, "Okay then, I love you too. You can eat my brains." Yeah. Sweet talk works, folks. Jesse, Lucy, the cable guy, and Doc take an ambulance from the hospital and they start to leave town, but they meet an army blockade and the army blockade just opens fire instantly. Yeah, so they have to retreat and head back into town. And as they're rushing around trying to find somewhere safe to go, we see a little montage of the army shooting zombies all over the place. Yeah. Now, Jesse and co, they end up in this sort of factory. Yeah, and it stocks like frozen meat. Yeah. Including frozen brains. Yeah. It's a big frozen warehouse with lots of frozen brains for some reason. So Jesse and his gang decide, let's give them all the brains they can handle. So they take the brains, and is it still the ambulance they're driving, or are they driving a meat van now? It might be a meat van, I don't remember. But they're opened the back doors of this van anyway, and I think Doc's driving. No, actually, Cable Guy is driving, and while he's driving, Jesse, Lucy, and Doc are in the back throwing out brains, luring the zombies, making them follow them. Yeah, and eventually they go to this tower plant where there's loads of electricity, electrical towers and cables and things like that, and they make a trail of brains. Yeah, they lure the zombies into this trap, basically. Yeah, so the zombies come in, grab the drains from the ground, and Jesse climbs into the building, trips a switch, and all the electricity towers on and goes through the zombies and zats them. Zat. Yeah, so they're all convulsing and being shocked and going zzz. Okay. And of course, this movie is from 1989, so when these zombies are convulsing and making all these funny notions, one of them is doing a Michael Jackson dance, just like Thriller. Yeah. It's the 80s, it's zombies. Of course there's going to be a reference. When Jesse is coming back from the building, he meets a particular zombie. Dilly the bully zombie. And they have a little fight. And Jesse eventually puts, I think it's a plug or something. Yeah, he takes it in Dilly's mouth. And it zaps him from the inside out. And then also throws him off the edge of the building. Yeah. So Jesse gets back in the van. So now that most of the zombies are taken care of, the army come into the power plant. All the electricity is switched off now. They come in and they're going around just shooting the bodies of the zombies, making sure they're all definitely taken out. Yeah. And Jesse and Lucy and Cable Guy and Doc, they just happily walk through the army. The army who shot at them 5 minutes ago. They just walk through like, see you later, guys. Yeah, no questions, no, are these people zombies? No worries, nothing, just the army just ignore them as if they're not there. Yeah. Now, the last thing in this movie said, I remember, you remember, yeah, the Zonde, well, the last thing said in this movie by a human character, right, is by Doc. Now, Doc is probably in his mid-60s or late 60s. Yeah, I think so. And Jesse, what did we say, he's probably about 7 or 8? I think so. And the last thing said by a human in this movie is Doc walking along with Jesse on their way out of the zombie battlefield. Walking casually, he puts his hand on Jesse's shoulder and says, have you ever seen a grown man drunk? Call the cuts. And that's the last thing said by a human in this movie. Yeah, but not the last thing said at all. The last thing said at all is that Zonde head, that lady's Zonde head, the sarcastic funny one, she gets blasted by a flamethrower. And she says, okay, you in, no more drains for now. And then it's into the rock song to finish the movie. Pretty good. Did you like it? Yeah, pretty funny. Good zombie effects. Yeah, I don't think it had a massive budget, but I think it was pretty effective with what they had. Yeah, they done well, and it is good fun. It's a horror. Did you say comedy? Yes, a horror comedy. It's a horror comedy that it's not too scary for. I think kids could watch this. I think kids of a certain age, definitely. I watched it when I was about 13 or 14. Really? Yep. Have you ever seen a grown man drunk? I'm drunk right now. So, we're going to go. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Watch another video, please. And hit like, it really does help. Hit subscribe, it really does help. Send the nanny, it really does help. No. Listen, if you can hit like and subscribe, that'd be really appreciated. We will see you next time with another movie review. Thank you.